Remember those nights when we'd sit around a flickering campfire or the dinner table, our eyes wide as we listened to the creepiest stories? The kind that made us jump at every creak in the house, convinced something was lurking just out of sight? Those characters, haunting, eerie, and unforgettable, left us lying awake, hearts racing, scared to even let a toe dangle from the bed. Tonight, let's dive back into that thrill. Pull up a chair, dim the lights, and step with me into the shadows. The world beyond our own is waiting to tell its chilling secrets, and the ghosts, they're ready to make themselves known. At number 10, we have the Wailing Spirit. A couple of years ago, a young woman named Lena Ortega visited her mother, who had been admitted to the St. Raphael Community Hospital in Quezon City, Philippines. As she walked through the quiet, sterile corridor toward her mother's ward, a blood-curdling scream echoed from an empty hallway nearby. Believing it to be a patient in unbearable pain, Lena instinctively followed the sound, peering down the dimly lit hall. What she saw froze her in place. Suspended in the air was what appeared to be its suffering soul, its form twisted and translucent, emitting waves of despair. Terrified, Lena sprinted to the nearest nurse's station and frantically described what she had just witnessed. The nurses exchanged nervous glances, their faces pale with unease. Finally, one of them spoke in a low voice. "You must have seen Isabel Mercado." Isabel, they explained, was a former patient admitted to the ICU years earlier after being brutally injured in a violent altercation. Her wounds were so severe that she lingered in agony for hours before succumbing. Her final moments were filled with horrifying screams. And since that day, her restless spirit had been seen wandering the hospital's dark corridors and empty stairways, forever reliving her pain. Lena, shaken to her core, later heard similar accounts from other staff and visitors. Tales of ghostly cries echoing through the night, shadowy figures that disappeared upon closer inspection, and an oppressive chill that seemed to follow Isabel's unseen presence. For Lena, the memory of that suffering soul would haunt her forever, a grim reminder of the anguish that lingers when peace remains elusive. At number 9, the haunted isle of Santa Lucia. Santa Lucia Island lies off the coast of Honduras, part of a remote cluster of isles known as Las Perlas. First recorded by Spanish explorers in the early 1500s, the island has a dark and turbulent history. In the 19th century, it was repurposed as a leper colony under the orders of the colonial government. Those sent to Santa Lucia were condemned to spend the rest of their lives in isolation, cared for only by a group of dedicated nuns. Tragedy struck when 2 of the nuns themselves contracted leprosy. Stricken with despair and unable to cope with her fate, one of the nuns took her own life in the island chapel, leaving behind a chilling legacy. By 1985, after the last leper had died and the remaining nuns departed, Santa Lucia was abandoned. Today, the island is mostly desolate, apart from the occasional caretaker who tends to a crumbling lighthouse. While a few daring locals venture there for day trips, most steer clear of its haunted shores. Legend has it that the ghost of the nun who ended her life still roams Santa Lucia, her sorrowful spirit tethered to the island's center. Witnesses report sightings of a spectral figure gliding through the overgrown graves, clutching a lantern that flickers faintly in the dark. The eerie glow is said to vanish if you try to approach, leaving behind an unnatural silence and a deep, bone-chilling cold. For those brave enough to visit, the island offers more than just its haunting beauty. It carries the heavy burden of its past and the lingering presence of a soul unable to rest.